Did you know there is evidence of the Great Flood told in the book of Genesis? Let me explain. The Great Sphinx of Giza shows unusual patterns of erosion on its body, and especially the walls of the sunken enclosure surrounding it. Deep, rounded, vertical channels and grooves that look like they've been worn by running water. Geologist Robert Schoch from Boston University has argued since the early 1990s that this kind of weathering comes from prolonged heavy rainfall and runoff, not the usual wind-blown sand and dust that dominate Egypt's desert today.
That the Sphinx had been weathered by rain. I would say precipitation as a geologist, not wind and sand. So this, if it were true, and it is true, would put the Sphinx back to a much earlier period.
Schoch concludes the Sphinx must date back to a much wetter climatic period, likely before about 5000 BC and possibly as early as 7,000 to 10,000 years ago, when the Sahara region received far more rain during the end of the last ice age. Some people, including authors like Graham Hancock, connect this idea to ancient flood stories found in many cultures, including the biblical Great Flood in Genesis.
Robert Schoch, in my view, is a hero. Robert Schoch is a mainstream academic who has stuck his neck out for an idea that is very unpopular with mainstream academics. He's taken all the risks for his career, he's put himself out there, and he's spoken his truth.
They suggest the water damage could be a geological echo of catastrophic flooding or extreme rainfall events, remembered in myth as a world-destroying event, possibly tied to rapid sea level rise or massive regional floods at the end of the Ice Age around 12,000 to 10,000 years ago. Mainstream Egyptologists and many geologists disagree. They explain the erosion through other processes. Periodic Nile flooding. The Sphinx sits low and was often buried in wet sand. Occasional heavy rains, even after 2500 BC. Salt crystallization from groundwater, or a combination, without needing a radically older date for the monument. The debate remains open and controversial, but the visible water-like damage on the Sphinx keeps sparking questions about ancient Egypt's timeline and whether biblical-style flood traditions might preserve memories of real prehistoric climate disasters.